everyone. Welcome back to the Daily Ebenezer. Hope you guys are doing great today. Today we're going to be talking about how to get the most out of our day. But before we do that, be sure to click on the link in your video or podcast comments to download the free note pages for this section here. Also, if you will visit our website, thedailyebenezer.com, click on the store tab, you can find a free downloadable daily organizer that we just want to give you guys to help you get more organized and help be more effective with your time management. Doesn't cost you anything, so just visit the website, be sure to click on that, and we'll talk about it here in a few moments. So how do we get the most out of our day? You know, so many people always look for ways, what can I do to get the most out of my time that I have every day? And so I want to give you 5 tips during this session on ways you can get the most out of your day. Every one of us have the same amount of time every day. It doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful we are, how old or young we are, how much education or lack of education we have. We all have the same amount of time. The question is, how do we use that time to get the most out of our day? And we want to talk about that. There's 2 things we need to understand before we get into it. Number 1, getting organized, and number 2, being intentional. When we get organized, it helps to maximize our day, and it helps to maximize our efficiency. So the organization aspect of everything is helping us to maximize everything that we accomplish that day, but the efficiency helps us to get the most that we can done in that same amount of time. Being intentional, on the other hand, is a thought process. It's the ability to think about what do you want to accomplish or need to accomplish that day, how can we accomplish them, what things are important or not important, how much time can I devote to this, and what's going to give me the most bang for the buck, so to speak. And learning to make those intentional thoughts and decisions and plans make a huge difference in being successful in all parts of life. And then lastly, learn to put the time up front, okay? If we go ahead and sow and do the hard work as far as getting organized and planning and making intentional thoughts and stuff up front, it's going to free up the time on the back end to enjoy the success. So let's talk about 5 things. Number 1, set the clock early. You know, early starts really do make a big difference. Now, I've never been a really big morning person. I would love to be able to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and have 2 or 3 extra hours. That's just not me. It's never been a really big thing for me. But even if you're not a big morning person, I encourage you to try to start an hour earlier than you're starting now. Okay, so if you normally get up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning and get going, back it up 1 hour. And I challenge you to do that because you're going to find out that 1 hour can make a huge difference in your whole day. There's a saying that success starts early every day. And if you did a study of all the top 100 successful people in the world today, most of them is going to have the exact same thing. They got a really early start. You see little quotes and memes all over the place that says success will start early before 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. There's a lot of truth to those, but don't worry so much on the time that you start, but focus on wherever you are now in life. Let's start an hour earlier and start tomorrow. And yeah, so it's hard to get up, but you're going to see great results by doing this. Getting an early start to every day gives you time to think and plan. And so many times we think, okay, I'm getting up an hour early. Let me get to the office early. Let me get started on work earlier. Let me do something early. But I want you to look at it a different way, is get up an hour earlier, and instead of physically going and trying to do something, take that hour and think about your day. What's going to happen today? What's supposed to happen today? What do you need to accomplish today? And then I want you to start thinking about during that hour, what can you do to maximize that day? Okay, how can you schedule or lay out your day? You know, what's on your agenda? Are all those things on your agenda important? Or is there some stuff in there that really is not making a big difference in your goals or dreams, and maybe you can take them out and fill them with something else? But taking that early morning start to really think about, get organized, and plan your day is going to make a huge difference for you. Most of the successful people have a habit of rising early and going to bed at a decent hour, and this is another part that's important, is don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and then think you need to work a 21, 22-hour day and stay up to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning the next day. You're going to burn yourself out. You're physically and mentally going to be exhausted after a day or 2 of that. It's better to get up early, get your day planned, maximize that 8, 10, 12 hours that you have during the day. Enjoy time at home, you know, with your family, with your hobbies or whatever it is that you enjoy doing, and then go to bed at a decent hour and get a full night rest and start again the next day. Number 2, we've got 2 parts to number 2. The first part is we need to learn to be prepared. And this has got a lot to do with getting organized. Benjamin Franklin said, by failing to prepare, you're really preparing to fail. And that really makes a lot of sense, because if we're not going to get prepared and organize ourselves and think about what we need to accomplish that day, we're really just setting ourselves up for failures. If you take a few minutes every afternoon, every evening, before you go to bed, and just think about that day. What do I need to do tomorrow? And maybe make some notes and sort of prepare for it. This shouldn't take hours or anything like that, but 10 to 15 minutes in the evening or at night before you go to bed, just think about what needs to be accomplished that day. If you're at the office, before you check out and go home, just sort of schedule yourself 10 or 15 minutes to plan out the next day. It makes a huge difference. Time devoted to planning and organization is always less than the time wasted when we don't. And what I mean by that is, if we spend 30 minutes every single day focused on being organized and being intentional and planning out our day and what needs to be accomplished, that 30 minutes is going to be a lot less time compared to the hour or 2 hours we're going to waste trying to find things, trying to decide where we need to go, trying to decide what we need to do or how we're going to do it. That few minutes of organization usually saves hours of time wasted every single day. So that's a great way to save time and accomplish more. I encourage you to write down a list and plan every single day. The website that I was telling you about, the dailyebenezer.com, there's a free daily planner. You can just print that thing off, and you can make a page for every single day. This is one of the tools that I personally use. It's made a huge difference in my life, just being organized and maximizing my day. There's an area in there for 6 goals, sort of 6 boxes you can write down, 6 different things every day you want to accomplish. But then there's a time slot, and in that time slot is 15 hours. And what I try to do is I try to take that and I try to put something down every single hour that is productive, okay? And what I mean by that, if I'm at work and I'm working on a project for 6 hours, then that's going to fill 6 hours, okay? But if there's something every single hour that I can put in my day that's productive towards my work, my goal, my hobbies, something that's important to me to help me reach my dream and be successful, it helps me be very, very accountable to myself, and it helps me have really good days. So I encourage you to try to use that. Number 2, make a schedule and use it. And this is hard sometimes, is making that schedule, and it's really hard to use it because once we get off the schedule in the morning, we feel like, well, the whole schedule shot, then I'm not even going to worry about it. But learn to make that schedule and use it. There's a quote by Stephen Covey that says, the key is not to prioritize what is on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And I really like that. Same thing, going back to that organizer that you can download at our website, is there's 6 sort of blank boxes around the schedule there. And in that blank box, what I try to do every day is I try to write down one thing for my 6 major goals in life that I can do that day, okay? And then I try to make sure there's something on my schedule every day for those goals. And so when we prioritize our goals and we get them on our schedule, we're going to be way more successful than if we just say, well, I hope I get to this today. Make it a priority and get it on your schedule front. If you make a daily production schedule for yourself, and that sounds really corporate America, I guess, but make a schedule for yourself every day. Now, you may not know everything that's going to happen that day. Things will change. It's not if, they will change, and you're going to have to adapt to it. But if you've got that schedule and you just set it on your desk and you look at it every hour or 2 or 3 hours that you walk by and look at it, it's going to help you stay on focus, okay? It's going to help you accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. It's not hard to do. It's something simple. And even if you've only got 3 things on schedule that day, you're going to be more likely to accomplish those 3 things than if you just try to remember them or try to make them happen yourself. The other thing I really like about the schedule and just having it on my desk is it helps me stay on track to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish every day. And it helps me maximize my day and get the most out of every day. All right, that takes us to number 3, avoid interruptions, even the fun ones. Now, guys, with all the social media out there and the smartphones and all the fun apps and everything that's out there, interruptions seem to be every minute and every second. I find myself, easily getting interrupted when I'm studying and preparing for the day or working on something. Every time my phone or computer bings and there's an email or there's a Facebook update or there's Instagram or something like that, then, it's just a tendency I want to stop and check it and see what's going on. But we need to learn to avoid those interruptions. Each interruption involves a choice. Now, yes, there are interruptions that happen during the day that we cannot go around. We have to handle those interruptions. But the majority of interruptions, we can do something to sort of stop those or avoid those, and we want to talk about those. Interruptions steal valuable time every day. I encourage you to do this, and do it for 2 days, and be honest with yourself, because this is to make you better. Write down every single time. Just put a check mark on a piece of paper from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. Every single time you're interrupted, every time the phone rings, every time you get a text, every time you look at Facebook, every time you do anything that's not focused on a priority, just put a check mark down. What you're probably going to notice is you probably get interrupted 300 to 400 times a day. And if every one of those takes just a second or two, you're wasting hours every day. Another reason that it's important to avoid the interruptions is because if we're focused on a particular task and we're really into that task and we're thinking on that task and we're trying to accomplish this particular thing, and then we get interrupted, then it stops our thinking process. And when we come back, we lose valuable time and valuable thought processes that we have to go back and rebuild before we get back into that process. And so I encourage you to really think about how deep you're into a project and how important it is, to focus on that one project and really try to do away with any interruptions. If you work in a corporate setting and you can shut your door and put your phone calls on hold, turn your cell phone off, and all that stuff, and really focus into it, you're going to find you can accomplish this big project that would normally take 6 or 8 hours to do. You can probably do it in 3 or 4 hours just as by, getting things done without interruptions. Interruptions can come in so many forms, like we talked about. Some of them are enjoyable, but they all take away from our day. So learn to control them. We can't control every single one of them, but we can control a lot of them. So I encourage you to take a look at how you're interrupted at different times of your day and see what you can do to control those interruptions. All right, number 4, get organized. Find what works for you. Now, for me personally, I'm a little OCD on organization. I drive a lot of my friends and family crazy with it, but I really believe in organization has made a big difference in my life. But some people, you're just not, organized. It doesn't really work for you. So you don't have to do the same thing that, say, I would do. I may have everything down to 30 minutes or an hour every day and know exactly what I want to try to do or accomplish. For you, it may be simply just putting down 3 things that you want to accomplish that day. And start simple. So for every minute spent getting organized, an hour is earned. And that's really important to think about, because if you only, take 10 minutes, and for 10 minutes you can focus on getting everything in your day organized and you're really getting scheduled, you won't earn hours for that 10 minutes, and it's well worth the investment. Up to 30% of our time every single day is wasted looking for misplaced, lost, or unorganized items or tasks in our life. And if you think about that, if you say there's 24 hours in a day, that's a pretty significant amount of time. That's 6 or 7 hours that we're wasting during the day. And so I encourage you to find a way to get organized and really get your day pulled together. You can use that daily organizer that we have, or find your own system that works. Everybody is different, but it's really important to make a difference. Organization doesn't have to be complicated, doesn't have to be complex. It just needs to be written down, and it needs to be a plan for you. Finding a system to stay organized is going to help you reduce stress. It's going to increase your self-confidence, and it maximizes your productivity. And if you really think about those 3 things, those are pretty powerful adversaries in our daily life schedule, because if we're stressed out, we really can't focus. If we're stressed out, we're thinking about all the other issues. We're not focused on what's at hand. If we're lacking self-confidence, if we don't feel like we're good enough, if we don't feel like we can do the job well enough, then that really hurts us. But being organized and having a plan and being intentional and know where we're going, it's going to build our self-confidence. And then by doing all these things, it's just going to maximize our productivity. And, I know for me personally, what I found is by getting organized and getting a system in place for me, then when I can get everything I want to accomplish in 10 or 12 hours in a day, compared to doing those same things over 3 or 4 days and not having enough time and being stressed, life is just so much better. So I encourage you to do that. Lastly, I want to talk to you about prime time. I want you to find, understand, and maximize your prime time. Each of us has what I call prime time every day. And that's the time during the day that you just feel the most productive. It's that time in life that every single day, you feel most energy, your thought process is strong and clear, what you're doing, you just feel good. It's that time. And for most of us, it's almost the exact same time every single day. For me, that's my morning hour before lunch, 8 to 12, that's my prime time. For my wife, that can be 10 to midnight at night, 2 different schedules. But find out what works for you and try to schedule your important tasks, your projects and stuff during your prime time. Now, at work and in business and stuff, there's another prime time that we have to pay attention to, and that's called external prime time. The difference between internal and external prime time: internal is my prime time, what my body does and what's the best time for it to function. External is going to be when my clients are available, or when my business is open, or when I can interact with my customers. And so I have to adjust my time to that. Okay, so there's 2 things to think about with that. But for you personally, talking about getting the most out of your day, whatever the most important project is for that day, whatever you need to accomplish that really needs your concentration, if you can fit that into your prime time, it's going to make a huge difference, and you're going to accomplish so much more with that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this short video on getting the most out of your day. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop me an email at thedailyebenezer.com. Would love to hear from you, and check out our other videos. I hope you guys have an awesome day.